Wang Yibo sat there in silence. No smile, no hesitation disguised as politeness, no attempt to turn the moment into something lighter. When the question about marriage was raised, he didn't respond immediately. He paused, not long, but long enough for the air in the room to change. It was the kind of pause that tells you the answer won't be casual. Then he looked straight ahead and said calmly and evenly, "Marriage is still very far away from me." No follow-up joke, no vague explanation, no safe wording designed to please everyone. Just one sentence. And in that moment, the conversation stopped being ordinary, because this wasn't just anyone answering that question. It was Wang Yibo, a figure whose words are replayed, dissected, and interpreted far beyond their original setting. A man who understands that even silence can become a statement when millions are watching. This moment didn't happen under flashing lights or in front of a crowd of reporters. It happened inside Exploring New Horizons 2, a documentary series meant to show public figures stripped of performance and comfort. Here, Wang Yibo isn't styled for perfection. He isn't delivering lines. He's climbing rock walls, gripping rough stone, managing exhaustion, and confronting fear with his body before his mind can catch up. There's no audience applause, no script, just effort. That's the environment in which the question appeared. And that context matters more than the sentence itself. Because this wasn't a carefully calculated answer designed to shape headlines. It was spoken in real time, after physical strain, when the body is tired and the mind has little patience for pretense. When Wang Yibo repeated that marriage was very far away, it wasn't emphasis for effect. It was confirmation. Not rejection, not denial, just reality. To understand why that reality exists, you have to look at the way Wang Yibo lives now. His life doesn't move slowly. It doesn't pause. It doesn't leave much room for stillness. His schedule is divided between film shoots that stretch for months, music projects that demand constant rehearsal, professional motorsports that require precision and nerve, and now rock climbing, an activity he approaches not as a hobby, but as a discipline. He doesn't participate halfway. Every field he enters demands full commitment, physical endurance, mental control, risk, focus. That kind of life creates momentum, but it also creates limitation. Because some things can't grow at that speed. Marriage is one of them. Marriage doesn't survive on short breaks between projects. It doesn't build itself in the margins of exhaustion. It requires presence. Not symbolic presence, but real attention, time that isn't borrowed, energy that isn't already spent. Wang Yibo knows this. He didn't say marriage isn't important. He didn't say he doesn't want it. He said it's far away. Because right now, he can't give it what it deserves. That distinction is easy to miss if you're only reading a headline. The public is familiar with Wang Yibo at work. That version of him is controlled, precise, and composed. It's the image shaped by expectation, of fans, of the industry, of a career built under constant observation. But marriage doesn't happen between public images. It happens between two real people. Away from cameras, away from performance, away from approval. It requires vulnerability, imperfection, the willingness to be seen without armor. And Wang Yibo has always been careful about one thing: protecting the part of himself that isn't meant for display. That's why he rarely speaks impulsively. That's why he avoids promises he isn't prepared to keep. And that's why, when asked about marriage, he didn't choose a comforting answer. He chose a truthful one. Once that sentence aired, it traveled quickly. Clips spread across platforms. Quotes appeared in bold text. Headlines shortened his words, sometimes stripping them of their original context. Very far away became the focus. For some, it sounded final. For others, it sounded cautious. For many, it simply raised questions. People who watched the full episode recognized the tone immediately. They saw the fatigue. They saw the setting. They understood that this wasn't avoidance. It was self-awareness. Others, encountering the quote on its own, heard something colder. And that difference in perspective is where the conversation began to widen. Online discussions didn't erupt into chaos. Instead, they split quietly into two main currents. One group saw responsibility in his answer. At his age, under his workload, with the level of pressure he carries, choosing not to rush into marriage seemed sensible, even respectful to the idea of marriage itself. The other group didn't disagree, but expressed concern. Not criticism, concern. They wondered whether someone living at that pace would ever be able to slow down enough to create space for a personal life beyond achievement. What stood out most was what didn't happen. There was no public scandal, no aggressive speculation, no attacks on his character. Most of the discussion stayed centered on meaning, not intrusion. Within the entertainment industry, reactions were equally measured. People who have worked closely with Wang Yibo weren't surprised by his response. They described him as deliberate, thoughtful, and careful with language. He doesn't speak for effect, he speaks when he's sure. And when the initial noise faded, a clearer question remained. What was Wang Yibo actually saying? The answer isn't complicated. He wasn't making a statement about marriage as an institution. He was talking about readiness. For him, marriage isn't a milestone that proves maturity. It isn't a timeline that needs to be met. It's a responsibility that requires emotional availability, consistency, and presence. Right now, he knows he doesn't have those things to spare. Rather than step into a commitment halfway, he chooses distance. Very far away isn't indifference, it's restraint. And restraint, especially under public pressure, isn't easy. There's another layer beneath this that often goes unspoken. For public figures, especially in idol-driven industries, romantic relationships carry consequences beyond personal emotion. Privacy dissolves, speculation multiplies. Even ordinary moments become material for judgment. Wang Yibo has watched that happen to others. He understands the cost. That awareness doesn't mean fear, it means calculation. And in recent years, he's made choices that reflect a desire to protect his mental and physical well-being. Rock climbing, in particular, has become more than a challenge. It's a space without audience or expectation. On a cliff face, there's no reputation to maintain, no image to preserve, just the next hold, the next breath. It's one of the few places where Wang Yibo exists without interpretation. In that context, his words about marriage make sense. They aren't about delay for the sake of ambition. They're about alignment. He isn't running away from commitment. He's choosing to understand himself before making one. That choice resonates because it reflects a broader shift in how success and adulthood are defined. For many people today, personal growth, stability, and self-awareness aren't prerequisites for marriage. They're goals in their own right. Wang Yibo didn't present this as philosophy. He didn't frame it as advice. He simply stated where he stands, and that quiet clarity is what made people listen. His answer didn't shut down conversation, it opened it. Not because it was controversial, but because it was honest. Whether that distance shortens in the future, no one can say. Not the audience, not the media, not even Wang Yibo himself. But what he offered in that moment was something rare in public life. A refusal to pretend readiness when it doesn't exist. In a world that rewards speed, that honesty feels almost radical. And maybe that's why, long after the clip ended, people were still talking. Not about marriage, but about timing, choice, and the courage to say not yet when everyone expects an answer now. If there's a reason this moment stayed with people, it's not because Wang Yibo rejected something. It's because he defined himself. And sometimes that's enough to keep an audience listening until the very last second.